We're here at the CCA workbench, and
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about rigs and techniques. This week you picked sharks, which is really cool. I
Well,
like
you
the fact of
know,
that.
the reason being is, and it's getting to be summertime, and that's a great time to fish for sharks in Texas. And Galveston probably has some of the best shark fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, which probably makes it some of the best sharks fishing in the world because there's a lot of sharks in the Gulf of Mexico. And you know, I started in the saltwater business because of sharks. I liked them. My dad took me to see blue water white death when I was 7 years old in Arizona on Davis Monthan Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And ever since I saw a shark eat somebody, I wanted to catch them. You know, I wanted to be around them and interact with them. And a great thing about sharks is, you know, they're usually pretty easy to catch when they're around. They're not very picky, and but their whole body is like a big tongue. You know, they're almost like a catfish. They can taste the water around them. They're really good about getting on a chum line and following the chum to the bait. They're the nose of the ocean.
Right.
And not only do they have really good sense of smell, but they can actually detect electrical pulses. You know, they have these little gel-filled pits all in the front of their face and their nose that can actually detect tiny, minute electrical pulses of their prey, like a fish or anything. When it moves, it makes a little electrical pulse, and that's why, you know, you'll sometimes have a shark come up and start nosing your motors and chewing on metal stuff on the back of your boat, because to them it's like it's alive, the electricity.
I've always wondered this. Maybe you can answer it or not. If you can, it's cool. Sometimes when you're around sharks, like around docks, you know, my dock house over in the Bahamas, after a few days of fishing for them and playing with them, it's almost like they can feel or sense the wire leader.
Yeah, well,
you
not
put
only
on
that,
monofilament, he'll eat it.
a shark is pretty smart. See, that's another thing. Shark is a pretty smart fish. They say that a great big shark, like a great white or, you know, a basking shark or some of those sharks, are actually can be as smart as a rat, which is incredible. You know, they can actually train sharks to go through mazes and stuff, and they're really smart fish.
So what kind of rigs are we going to use?
Well, you know,
Dave?
you're usually going to use wire rigs, at least number 9's cable, steel wire, or a bunch of braided different cables you can use, because, you know, the shark has teeth, and you want to be able to survive that initial bite. Now, a circle hook, a lot of times, if you use a circle hook, and I would only use circle hooks when I'm fishing for sharks, it's going to catch them right in the corner. So you can get away with a heavy monofilament leader a lot of times if you're using a nice circle hook.
Right.
You know, using maybe 100, 180, 200 pound mono, you know, whatever it takes, you know, like 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Right.
but you can use a big circle hook and wire.
If you're using smaller fish, Dave, do you need a big hook like this?
No, you're only needing this kind of
80 pounder.
No, for little black fins and whatnot, little spinner sharks that you're going to encounter on the beach.
What size would you go down
A
to?
4 or 5/0 circle hook is just fine, and
Okay.
and you can use 80-pound monofilament a lot of times, and you want to use a pretty long leader on most sharks, because sharks like to roll, and their skin is very abrasive. You know, they have a skin it's called dermal denticles. It's teeth skin, actually, is the literal translation of it. They have teeth on their skin, and a lot of times they'll actually, a bigger shark will actually come up and brush something and get it to bleed and get a taste of it, actually, with the skin on his
Well,
his
that's
back.
what
They actually used to make sandpaper out of shark skin.
That's one of the things I always say, that if you talk to people that have been bit by sharks,
Yeah.
sometimes they
get brushed.
They got brushed.
They get brushed a lot.
so
You know, in Texas, you can keep 1 shark per person per day. You can have 2 on you. It's good for a lot of the guys who camp and stuff like that on the beach. But you can only keep 1 a day, and you can get black tip, sharp nose, hammerheads, lemons, threshers, tigers, short fin makos, but they all have to be 64-inch minimum in Texas. You can't keep anything less than 64 inches. And a lot of those fish you won't encounter inshore, like the thresher shark and mako sharks can get inshore a lot of times when the kingfish come in. They'll come up on the beach, but most of the time they're off. And nighttime fishing for sharks is really good, because that's when they get really active. I mean, you can catch a shark any time of the day, but at nighttime is the shark time. That's when they get really active. They get on the hunt. They start chasing bait, and if you get some bloody bonitas, and use this big slab of bonita, or if you're lucky enough to go out and catch a barracuda on one of the rigs or something, nothing stinks more than a barracuda, and a nice barracuda fillet is an awesome bait for any of the sharks, tiger sharks, bull sharks, whatever. One thing you want to do when you get these sharks back, to the beach, or I'd never put a live shark in the boat for any reason.
Right.
I'm just that way. I don't care if he's 3 feet long.
Right.
If he has to be dead before he comes in the boat.
Right.
Because as soon as some smart aleck starts handling the little baby shark, he's wearing it, on his face, and then I got to go in, cut the day short because he cut his hand. So, if you're on the beach, bring you a wet towel to put over their eyes.
Right.
That'll calm the shark. You want to keep him horizontal. Don't lift him by his tail because they don't have any bones.
Right.
So you can really rupture their organs and hurt them. So just take care of them when you get them in. If you're not
They
going
are.
to take them to kill, to eat, take care of them and let them go.
They're the vacuum cleaners of the sea, for sure.
It's a healthy ocean that has them in it.
That was very informative. Thank you very much,
No
Mr.
worries.
Farrell.